Hi, I'm Brien Lundin, and I am at the Metals Investor Forum in Toronto right before the big PDAC conference. And I'm sitting down with Chris Gordon of Integra Resources. Not Integra Gold, Integra Resources. But Integra Gold, of course, is a predecessor company that had a great success. And you're busy with the same team kind of duplicating that success. You know, it's been a recommendation in my newsletter, Gold Newsletter, for some time. And you've made a lot of money for our readers since I recommended it, and a lot of your shareholders. So it's a bit of an advanced play, but you're here to tell us that the best is yet to come. And I think that's an important message, because one of the key things of Integra Resources, yes, it's advanced. It's hard for a junior resource investor to get hurt in the stock at this point because you've built up so much value. But the point, again, is a lot of people don't realize what's coming down the pike to increase that value substantially still. Can you give us that story?
Sure. First of all, thanks for having me today. And thanks for your support as well. It means a lot to us. So in terms of, I think one of the number one jobs for an issuer, for a junior mining company, is to create shareholder value.
Right.
That's the primary function. And as you alluded to, we've kind of built something that, you can't really say bulletproof in this business, but we've built something that has a really robust economic sort of profile of production over a 10-year period. So we have de-risked it to quite a large extent.
Mm-hmm. I was amazed at the economics of the PA when it came out, that how robust the economics were. I was not expecting numbers like that as much as I was familiar with the project. So really, really impressive.
Yeah, great numbers so far. So I would say the three key areas this year for people to watch for in terms of adding additional shareholder value with Integra Resources would be the high grade aspect of the story. Mm-hmm. Really largely doesn't exist to this point in time.
Right.
We stepped out of the gate with a 3.5 million ounce inferred resource back in Q1 of 18 without ever having put a drill into the ground. So it made a lot of sense for our focus over the first 1.5 to 2 years to sort of build more confidence in the market's opinion on that by updating the resource and converting a lot of it to M&I and growing the resource at the same time, and then putting that economic study sort of behind that to underpin everything. And so, we do have something that is really robust that we can build ourselves, with $200 million Canadian that gets us into production. That's doable for us, and it's also very attractive for a mid-tier producer. So one of the things we're going to be doing to add shareholder value is, as you probably are well aware, that PEA is built off of 1.8 million ounces. So
and the IRR in that was what?
Well, at a 1350 gold input and 1690 silver, that was 43% after-tax IRR. So today we're in the vicinity of around 60%.
You got a huge increase right there, very significant increase.
Yeah, and so the reason that only 1.8 million of our 4+ million ounces is in that is because the metallurgy was advanced enough on the oxide and the transitional material, which is basically what works well with heap leach. Right. That was ready for prime time. But the sulfide, the unoxidized portion of the story, which represents in the neighborhood of about 2 million ounces, wasn't quite ready yet. We still needed to do more metallurgy on what would work in a mill under sort of a cyanide leaching scenario. Also, what portion of it would need to be used as a shipping concentrate. Okay. So that information is going to be ready for us in the next 2 or 3 months. So I think September is probably a safe target to look at an updated PEA. So that updated PEA is going to add in the neighborhood of 2 million ounces more to the story.
That's another whole project.
Well, it is, yeah. I mean, suddenly that's something that, we probably can't build ourselves because the CapEx is going to probably double. Yeah. But the NPV is going to go up much higher. The production profile is probably going to get in the neighborhood of 250,000 ounces a year, which is where a major would start looking at what you've got.
Yeah, if you weren't already near the top of the M&A target list for companies, that will definitely vault you up to the top of the list. Agreed. In terms of size and the ability for a major to come in and really move the needle on the resource base, the reserve base.
Exactly, and there's a real scarcity of these types of projects in top tier jurisdictions. And we all know that usually in the top of the bull markets is when a lot of that M&A happens. And I think we're maybe a year or 2 years away from that. And I think we will be one of those targets. So some of the other things we're trying to do a little bit in a hurry with that being the case is when you look at the high grade aspect of the story, we just got a first couple holes in at War Eagle before the end of the year, before the snow really came in.
And what results you got there?
Yeah, we had some excellent, strong results that are available on our website. And from there, We'll get back into War Eagle. We'll get back into Florida Mountain, probably in the back half of May or the first week of June. And for us, we don't need 1 or 2 million ounces of high grade to impact the story. When you look at those positive economics we talked about, that mill is 2,000 ton per day, and that would be running 1 gram material through the mill. So if we can substitute a quarter of that, say 500 ton per day of that, with 5 to 10 gram per ton material, you go back to those economics, and it really raises the numbers again. And then lastly, the kind of what we think is almost cherry picking is when you look at Florida Mountain and DeLamar, where the bulk of that resource, that 4.4 million ounces, lies, just with shallow step out drilling from the areas where we know that there's heap leachable material, being the oxide and transitional. We think we should be able to get this thing into that sort of 5 million ounce range globally, and then we see sort of 6 million ounces within a couple of years. In terms of that, So
you have identified targets outside the current resource outline of parameters that you can go after. So really you've got 3 ways. You've got the metallurgy for the sulfide, you've got the high grade, and you've got very basic and simple resource expansion by step out drilling.
Exactly. I mean, there's just no shortage of targets for us to go after. Around DeLamar is a low sulfidation epithermal system, and then we've got another sort of 5 by 5 kilometer box that's just to the northwest of that. That's another epithermal system that's largely untested. War Eagle, we've just established 300 meters of strike length with those 3 holes that we drilled. And the middle hole, that was really big results came back from that. And what you'd find most early stage juniors would then do is step out 20, 25 feet and drill into the same sort of chute of high grade. But what we're trying to define is a bigger picture here. And then the soil geochem soil anomaly on that is about 1.2 kilometers long. And then at Florida Mountain, you've got pretty much a mirror image of where that 1 million ounces at Florida Mountain lies. That's largely untested as well. Then there's all the targets up in Black Sheep, that other epithermal system. And we're currently drilling at Henrietta. So I think you can start to see some drill results in the next month and a half to 2 months start to regularly flow for us.
So this project, which is already large, in this market really near the top of the list for discovery and development projects, is only going to get better. And there's actual potential that I can see at least, and I know you can't really say a lot of this, but that I can see the potential for this project to be 2 to 3 times larger than what it is right now. Then if you're a takeover target of a major at some point, they're going to have to pay some significant premium over whatever that level is. So you've got a lot of news coming up over just the next year that could fundamentally transform the company.
Exactly. We're trying to add as much value as we can here before that M&A starts to heat up.
Well, exactly. Chris, sounds very exciting. I'm very pleased to have Integra among the companies that we recommend in Gold Newsletter, and I look forward to you making a lot of money over the next year or 2 for our readers.
Great. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it, Brien.